breaking news. Police say someone was shot at Oakridge Mall in San Jose. This is a live look from the scene. A big police presence at the mall right now in front of the Target store. There's no word on the condition of the victim at this point, and there's no word on if the shooter has been arrested. Customers were being told to shelter in place if they can. And as we look at chopper video live over the mall, it all unfolded at about 5:45 tonight when shots rang out inside or outside the mall. Not sure, but the activity seemed to be centered near the entrance to the Target store. Just around the corner from that store is the Macy's, where 6 to 8 males staged a smash and grab just 2 days ago. They weren't successful in that attempt, but a woman who interfered with the arrest of one of the thieves was herself taken into custody. In tonight's incident, we are seeing a tweet from somebody who was in the movie theater at the mall. They were all ordered out of the theater. As for whether or not there's an active shooter, as for the condition of the victim, Mayor Sam Liccardo said about 20 minutes ago, the Oakridge shooting does not appear to involve an active shooter. There is one injured victim, but shooting has not continued, according to the latest report. Many San Jose police officers are on the scene and are working quickly to ensure everyone's safety.
All right, let's take a live look at the scene right now. As you can see, just a heavy police presence surrounding the mall, but obviously in the parking lots there. You can see, though, in the distance that people, it looks like, are being allowed to leave the mall. Now, there's the main Westfield area, and then there's the entrance right there between the Target and then the Westfield. You can see that sign right there. And earlier this evening, we saw a number of what looked like to be shoppers were able to actually leave the facility. So that's good news in that police and the crews there feel like that it is safe enough for people to leave the facilities. There you see a car pulling out. But again, we're not quite sure if this happened inside the Target or where the shooting actually happened, or whether it was outside in the parking lot. But anytime there's any kind of reports of a shooting at any mall, this is how officers are going to respond, with full force. And what you're not seeing is that the entire mall itself is surrounded by emergency vehicles, many 2 or 3 cars deep at the entrances, the exits, and also surrounding. And we're also told that a SWAT team responded to the scene not long after they got the first reports of shots fired at the Oakridge Mall here in San Jose, the Westfield Shopping Center, the Oakridge Mall there. And we keep focusing there on the Target. Again, unclear if that's where it happened, but I will tell you there's a lot more depth, I should say, of police presence around that Target store. And as Brian mentioned, just a couple of days ago, there was a retail theft that was thwarted just around the corner at that Macy's. So obviously a lot of attention on this mall for a multitude of reasons, but today was because of this shooting. Again, though, the Mayor Sam Liccardo of San Jose saying that it doesn't appear to be an active shooter situation. There is one victim and one shooter, although it's unclear if that individual was arrested or even identified at this point. We're gonna a lot of questions we still need to have answered in this, but what it does appear, though, that people are being allowed to leave the facility and go safely to their cars as police continue their investigation there.
Yeah, just to get you oriented, this is all at the intersection of 85 and 87, kind of in south central San Jose. It's across the street, well, kitty corner really to Gunderson High School. And at the Oakridge Mall, they've got the Target, they've got the Macy's, they've got a Nordstrom Rack. You know, tonight's events all unfolded beginning about an hour and 15 minutes ago when gunshots rang out. Somebody was hit, and police responded, and how. There are a lot of units out there. We were initially close with our camera crews to the entrance of that Target store. Again, we don't know if it was connected with Target, but that's where all of the police enforcement seems to be concentrated. And as you look live right now, you can see that lining what is probably Thornwood Drive right in front of Target are police vehicles of every description. Again, obviously have a lot of people on scene, and obviously this is the last thing they want to see at a shopping mall just a few days before Christmas. You can imagine how people down there reacted, especially because initially they had a shelter-in-place order. I guess the good news, if you can characterize it as good news, is that there's no active shooter on scene. And we're basically waiting just to find out what happened and why, and the condition of the victim, a motive. And in terms of the suspect, I don't think they have any yet.
No, not yet. I mean, this is a very busy mall. They've got a lot of different stores there, expanded their hours. I am hearing, though, that at one point, it's unclear if they're still doing that police were going store to store looking for the perpetrator, the shooter in all of this. So it's unclear if the shooting happened and that individual took off, but we're told at one point, or if it's not, we're still waiting for any kind of word from police, but we're hearing that at one point police were going store to store looking for the shooter. Unclear if that information is coming from a shopper or if it's coming from the actual police department. But as you can see, the police department has not left. They are still there. They're going to be there probably through the night, canvassing the area, looking for any evidence markers, and also potentially looking for the shooter. It's unclear if that individual got away, if they caught that person, or that's why they're so concentrated in that area right now. There's just a lot of unknowns, but it was comforting to hear from, again, Mayor Sam Liccardo saying this does not look like it's an active shooter situation. This involved one victim who was injured. Unclear if their injuries right now or their condition. One person was injured, and there was one shooter who apparently police were looking for inside the mall.
At the moment, we've got Devin Feely on the way, but he's got to fight his way through the traffic on 85 to get to this, and traffic in the neighborhood is obviously pretty thick. Mostly thick with police vehicles at this hour. Again, this was the scene a couple of days ago, right around the corner from the Target that you're looking at on the right-hand side of the screen. You go to the right, around the corner, there's the big Macy's, and that's where about 8 people tried to break in a few nights ago and steal stuff. They didn't. So they've been in the news for the wrong reasons lately. First, there was that break-in where a woman intervened in the theft and was herself arrested, a 43-year-old woman from Morgan Hill. Everybody else got away, and now there's this shooting that happened at about 4:45 tonight, and the aftermath you're seeing on the screen right now.
Tensions are just so high right now, not only because of the holiday season, but what's happening in our country. And you can see that there's a big police presence there, not only by the entrance to the mall, but also around the Target. And then earlier we looked at the traffic map, and it's actually gotten worse over the past 30 minutes. Before there was just pockets of red, and now it looks like that whole block there, you can see surrounding the mall there is just almost solid red of just people getting out, but also just the traffic of folks trying to do their last-minute shopping on the Monday before Christmas.
Right.
And so that just adds to the tension, it adds to the chaos of just trying to get out and about for that area. So if you're planning on going anywhere near San Jose, for that matter, stay away or stay home. Do your shopping tomorrow morning, because traffic is only getting worse in that area.
Yeah, we had heard that the police were going to be making an announcement. They're going to have a little bit of a press conference about what happened, the condition of the people involved, suspects, all that sort of thing. But at the moment, they're busily engaged in doing what Liz said they were doing, which is to search for whoever perpetrated this. And you know, that's about all that we know at this point.
Okay, well, here's some conflicting information. So I'm just hearing now from our producer that now police are trying to find out if a person was shot at all. They're still looking for a victim. They know that shots were fired, but that's it. We don't necessarily know that there is a victim, and we're told earlier police were going store to store throughout the mall looking for the shooter and may or may not have located that individual, but now we're hearing that the victim, there may not be a victim, that somebody may not have been shot, although this is all kind of, you have to understand, this is all kind of rolling information that's coming in, and we're learning, as you are now watching us live, and we're still waiting to hear official confirmation from the police. But those are the reports that we're hearing, that there's a lot of unknown. Initially, we heard from the mayor saying that we know that one victim was shot. Does not appear to be an active situation, but it was unclear if they had apprehended the suspect. Now we're hearing that shots were fired, but we don't know if somebody was actually hit. And at one point, police were going around the mall looking for a possible shooter. Now they're looking for the possible victim as well.
Okay, well, that is a conflict because Mayor Liccardo had tweeted saying that a person was injured.
Right.
Now we're saying, well, maybe there's not a person who's been hit at all. So
yeah, there's just a lot of unknowns, and unfortunately, with this type of situation, we've seen time and time again. Unfortunately, we've covered a lot of these types of stories. That in the beginning, there is a lot of unknown. You're hearing different conflicting reports from different entities. The information sometimes changes. Sometimes you hear from witness accounts, and that changes the dialogue of what really unfolded here. But what we do know, heavy police presence here at the Oakridge Mall, San Jose, in front of that Target store. Unclear if that's where the incident happened, but it's at least 2 or 3 police cars deep and crews parked outside there, indicating that there might have something. They might be looking for something there. That's also near the entrance to the actual mall. But reports were that at 5:45 this evening, there were reports of shots fired at the Oakridge Mall. We're hearing conflicting things. Mayor Sam Liccardo saying, okay, this is from the San Jose Police Media Relations. This is just the latest, clarifying initial updates of a victim in the mall that was shot have not been substantiated. We're in the process of clearing the mall, both for a suspect and a victim. Again, no active shooter. However, the scene is not yet secure. So there you go. Now it just is add to sort of all the unknowns with this developing story. We don't think that it's going to be an active shooter situation. Police are clearing the mall to make sure that everybody's out while they look for the shooter and a potential victim, but we don't even know if there's a victim yet. We know shots were reported fired at about 5:45 this evening, but right now, unclear if anyone was actually shot.
Well, you can understand how people who are shopping in a mall where their tensions are strung pretty tight because of all the video that we've seen over the past few months of, you know, mobs going from store to store, smashing windows, stealing stuff that you hear a noise. I'm not saying this is what happened, but it's a pretty short step from hearing something and panic ensuing. And at the moment, you know, plenty of police are on scene. I would think that would just about for tonight wrap up shopping at the Oakridge Mall while they investigate all of this. But it's certainly not what you want to hear just a few days before Christmas.
No. And you have to imagine that this mall was just packed. I mean, they expanded their hours till 9 till 10 o'clock at night. People shopping 10 o'clock at night because they have to, because so many people are out trying to get those last-minute gifts, and this is when they can do it. Maybe this is the only time they had off work to actually go and get their shopping done. So you go to this packed mall. The tensions are high, not only for yourself, but also hearing reports of these massive thefts. And everybody has in the back of their minds other mall shootings that have happened. You hear gunshots, and you can imagine the fear and the chaos that might have ensued when you hear those reports there. But again, a lot unknown. We know that reports of shots being fired happened at 5:45 this evening at the Oakridge Mall in San Jose. We know that at one point, police were going store to store looking for a potential shooter, and now we're told a potential victim. You see, obviously, police cars surrounding the entire mall. We're seeing, though, that a lot of shoppers are able to, looks like a lot of shoppers are able to leave. We saw some cars pulling out of the parking lot there. At one point, we saw a large group of about half a dozen or so shoppers allowed to leave the exits there to the Oakridge Mall. But again, this is still a developing situation. They haven't secured the situation yet because they still don't exactly know what really happened. Earlier, San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo said that there was was not an active shooter situation. One person was shot, but unclear if they had apprehended the suspect and all this, the shooter and all this. But now we're hearing from police that we don't even know if there was a